Hey, welcome to a different kind of recording that we're doing today. We are recording the Legacy League that I recently played. And a couple of you were following my progress in that league on the Discord, Elves Discord that we recently created, or I can't really say recently, but it's been established for quite a while. And from what I know, it's actually one of the most active Discords for Legacy decks out there. And yeah, after you guys are following me there, a couple of you messaged me and asked me to record the games that I played during the Legacy Challenge and put them on YouTube. And that's what we are doing today. Because I was neither recording nor streaming them because there were a couple of issues and that I meant that I couldn't really have the time to commit to that when it was happening. But yeah, since it was of quite a lot of interest for you guys, we have decided to record that. So let's jump into... Oh yeah, and by the way, we are using the list on this side. There's nothing special really. It's the main deck that I used for MKM... was it Rome? Yeah, MKM Rome 2 weeks ago. 1 week from when the challenge was actually happening. And in the sideboard we are trying... The only spice that we are trying is 2 Lost Legacy. But we will see how those work for us. I like them, or at least I like the idea of them, because they provide additional stuff that you can bring in against what I want to call mid-range combo decks like Alluran, Food Chain. As I learned, not Painter, because Painter is an artifact, also not Belcher, but that's not exactly mid-range anyway. I'm not quite fully committed to them, but like I can see them working. I could also see them working maybe against Punishing Fire out of lands. Like, maybe. Time will tell how good the card is, but I certainly wanted to give it a try, and total disclosure, I just hated losing to A&T a lot lately, like on Magic Honor and leagues. I've had several leagues where I played against A&T 3 times, sometimes even 4 times, and Gardock was okay, but these days it really feels like they're running like 4 removal spells, like usually 2 Fatal Push, 2 Abrupt Decay, or 2 Chain of Vapor, and it felt like Gardock wasn't having the kind of impact that I wanted to have in that matchup, and if I'm using such a dedicated card, I'd rather have it like have a real impact. So that's why I just really want to get in a position where I can turn to Lost Legacy them and take their tendrils. But let's jump into the game. This is the first round. We were 77 players, so it should be 7 rounds plus potentially top 8. And here's the first round. Is it still recording? Great, because I already got this far in the previous recording and then I realized, oh my god, it wasn't recording. Okay, so here we are. We are up. I can already spoil it against Death in Texas, which is always a nice way to start your tournament. And this hand is quite good. Like, this hand is even like a potential turn 2 kill, especially on the draw, so I'm definitely keeping it. And I'd be surprised if I wouldn't get Dryad Arbor here on the first turn, because that gives us more value for the glimpse. And that's probably Dryad Arbor. Must be, right? Yeah, it's Dryad Arbor. Then we pass. Like, the worst thing that could happen to us here is like opponent having a main deck Canonist. But I guess Swords would be annoying, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. And then at this point I feel like we already won the game. Like in the first game there's hardly anything that he can do to stop us here. Like, he could bring in Revoker on Heritage to it, but he would have probably Revokered the Llanowar Elves anyway, so I'm feeling really confident here. Grabbing the Dryad Arbor and drawing the absolute nuts. Like, drawing another Nil Sentinel is amazing. And then I guess you know where this goes. And another Nil Sentinel is just overkill at this point. I think I will just hit play and let it play out. I hope that works. I mean, it's all academic from here. You just, like, make a bunch of mana and the opponent scoops anyway. Yeah, he's seen enough. Like, every elf is a Dark Ritual at this point. Even better, actually. It produces 3 mana. 3 point... Yeah, actually it produces 4 mana. But the 4th mana you only get in increments of 3, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is the first game. For the sideboard, I will show you how I sideboarded. So I took out 2 Nettle Sentinels and 2 Glimpses, which is something I usually do in that matchup. I brought in 3 Abrupt Decays and a Progenitors. I think that's pretty straightforward. I'm taking these out because they usually have either Spawn Canonists, which is easily the hardest card to beat in that matchup. But I mean, it's not undoable, and sometimes you can also just like get them with natural order, so it's nice to have ways around Canonist and Containment Priest. I think Canonist is the much harder card to beat than Containment Priest, so I'm kind of hedging against them, like maybe having them, but then us still having more outs to that. Okay, we can't keep the first hand. I guess we already saw that was Cradle only. This hand, on the other hand, I think I would even keep it if I didn't have the fetch land, because, like, the upside is quite high. Even though, and then we see Progenitus and immediately put that to the bottom. But if I didn't have the fetch land, I would certainly lead on Cradle in this matchup. But with the fetch land, it's quite easy. I think I might actually just accelerate. Yeah, like, if you guys know me, you know that I'm all about acceleration. Like, I think acceleration and doing unfair things, like, you have to pick one of them or even do both, like in Elves. Because if you do neither, basically, you're having a really hard time in Legacy. And by acceleration, I also mean, like, cheating on mana cost. Like, doing Terminus is also, like, kind of, you know, acceleration. It also qualifies as unfair, so you have to do something like that. Yeah. At this point, I think I'm just gonna slam the oh yeah, Wirebird Simp. It makes sense because I wanna play the Dryad Arbor. Yeah. We're under no pressure whatsoever. Like Mother, I don't care about much. Even Pendelhaven is nice because if he plays like Hate Bears, we can block them. Chooses one, that's fine. We will just draw 3 cards every turn. Like, at this point, this is... It might sound weird because it's not super favorable, but this is all I want in this matchup. Like, him not having any kind of pressure, presenting one problem that we probably can't even abrupt decay, but then nothing else, while we draw 3 cards a turn and he draws a single card a turn, and, like, we've got so many bombs that we can hit here. It's not even funny. If he hasn't Containment Priest, then it somewhat becomes problematic, because then we have to hardcast Behemoth, but that's why we leave 2 Behemoth in the main deck. Because a lot of times in this matchup, you will just hardcast Behemoth and get them. And what we're doing here is to just generate a bunch of card advantage, because at this point we're drawing 4 cards a turn, which really gets out of hand quite quickly if the opponent can't stop us. He might port our Cradle, but we don't really care much about that. On one hand, we've got a backup, but we might not even need to use that backup. And we draw another... Like, the additional Visionary doesn't really do anything, but it's a nice-to-have card. It brings us closer to hardcasting Behemoth. And spoiler, I don't even know if we are gonna hardcast Behemoth in this game, but it certainly feels like the kind of game that would end this way. Flicker Wisp. Yeah, he takes this guy out at end of turn, doesn't really change much. He taps the Cradle on our upkeep because he still can't attack. Oh, but he took out the Wild Seabird on his end step to make it so that we wouldn't have it on our turn, which makes sense because then we got one less draw for the Elfish Visionary. And then he kinda taps us out, but I think... Would I play the additional Cradle? Yeah, the way I know myself, I would probably play the additional Cradle because I'm so greedy and I want to draw everything all the time. Like, if I draw a bunch of cards, then... Oh, whoa! Whoa, really? Huh, that's surprising. I guess... Yeah... Looking at it now, I would have definitely been greedy. Mother of Runes, fine. Now we've got perfect information, and at this point we just need to draw something extra. I think on the next turn I might want to play... Maybe. Okay, so one reason not to use the Cradle yet is because if you use the Cradle, you're basically skipping your land drop, and on the next turn you're going to have it ported again. So I'm holding on to the Cradle to have it have a bigger impact. Yeah, I think I actually like that better. Yeah, Sunday Julian played better than... What day is it? Thursday Julian. So playing the land just develops our mana base, and since I mentioned we're under no pressure whatsoever, we even like still... We've got more than 20 life. So I think I kinda like that. So we're basically holding on to the Cradle until we find Containment Priest. Now that we have basic, perfect information, that makes even more sense. And he taps the Cradle. I wonder if he's gonna tap the Dryad Arbor or the land. He taps the land. Okay. Glimpse doesn't really do anything, but I mean, eventually we'll have to draw into something. Like Natural Order, for example. We untap those guys. Get this one gone. It's really... It must be kind of frustrating from the Death and Taxes side, but if you let your opponent draw this many cards, you know that eventually you're going to lose until you have got something like, I don't know, Curse Totem. Which, funnily, is also like really, really good against Death and Taxes. And then we draw a natural order. That means that next turn we're gonna have it. Like there's only one card you can draw, that's Containment Priest. And if he double ports us, then we got perfect confirmation that he also doesn't have Containment Priest. So this is nice. Oh, that stayed in the deck. That's quite surprising. Usually this is the first card to go out. And at this point we already know that the game is over. I will probably play a fetch land and fetch a Dryad Arbor if there's... No, there's probably no more Dryad Arbor left in the deck. Okay. Not that it really matters anyway. Oh, look at all these lands. Place at Groton Catacombs. Cheap, cheap, cheap. We don't need it. We'll trade it for anything. And I draw another card because that's just me. Then we get the natural order down.
Finish him!
I hope I was able to like decrease the volume on the finish him sounds. I'm actually not hearing them as I play. Yeah, the opponent scoops in response to a natural order, knowing what's about to happen. And I just realized I played the entire thing with the wrong avatars. But you saw my live tutorial, right? I'm gonna fix that for the next video. And yeah, I will see you in round 2. This was a pretty good start to the tournament, and always nice to get the spy. Watch me lose the next match to Death in Texas. No. Yeah, see you next round.